I don't think he is solely the reason why Belgium never won the World Cup.
No, I remember the game, though, and the game that Rory's talking about he could have had a hat-trick. And should have had a hat-trick.
Yeah.
The Champions League final, yes, there was one header he should score.
And he got in the way of it.
Yeah, the other one I felt a bit for him because he kind of get caught up in that traffic in front. And one on the left foot where he drilled it wide, hit the target, but it was always narrow. But where I will agree 100% with Rory is that he didn't want to be at Chelsea. He fell out of love with Chelsea straight away. Something happened, I don't know what. But he decided that Chelsea was not the place he wanted to be. Chelsea invested, £90 million, and he quit. He gave up. He threw the towel in. And the sooner he leaves the club, the better for everyone. He was the player that I felt when he was at Chelsea the first time, and Everton, West Brom, and Man United, obviously. There was a player in there, but you only saw it in spasms. You didn't see it. Then he went to Italy, and you're thinking, right, his all-round game has improved beyond belief, and his performances for Belgium, not just take aside from what Rory just mentioned there, and I felt was what we needed. But I tell you, mate, he was dog muck. He was terrible.
See,
he didn't want to be there.
His numbers for United weren't that bad, but United fans felt the same about him.
Yeah, it's like the game passes him by a little bit. It's like he wasn't quite in tune with what was going on around him. These players just latch onto games, and they make the game happen. The game was going on. It's like he was on the pitch, but occasionally he'd pop up with a goal.
But let me ask you about your rebuild, yours as in Chelsea. So Lukaku, we talked about Aubameyang's not going to be there. Ziyech, these are all players that are not going to return for the next 17 days. So they'll miss 17 days of pre-season. You've already let 9 players leave. I include Felix there. I know he was on loan. 3 more, 12.
Yeah.
Where are you at the moment?
So the squad was bloated. That's the word. Everyone used the word bloated,
Good
right?
word.
So the squad was bloated, and it had to be trimmed down.
I would say it was fat, actually.
It was fat, okay. So what's happened, right? Chelsea have gone on a crash diet. And when I say crash diet, they've lost so much weight, and the squad is so thin now, they've lost a little bit too much weight, right? So they've got to put a couple of pounds on. So it's fine, got rid of the fat, now need to build a bit of muscle.
But the key areas that they need to put muscle on are massive. So they're number 9. Chelsea got a history of getting it wrong with their number 9.
Honestly, we're a graveyard.
Right.
A graveyard for number 9.
Your midfield at the moment, I think, is 2 midfielders. Like, you're probably going... You're going Fernandes, Chukwuemeka, and Gallagher are probably your 3. You need 2 big heads in there.
If the season started tomorrow, we're too skinny.
Right.
We're too skinny. Lost too much weight. We're too weak.
Okay, so you need 2, 1, 3.
I would say we need 2 midfielders, a striker.
Goalkeeper?
We need cover for Kepa. Personally, I'll go for Onana. Onana's not a lot of money. What are you paying for him?
40 million.
It's nothing.
No, it's not, is it,
Honestly,
for a goalkeeper?
It's
for a top goalie, yeah.
So here's how I understand it. I think there's going to be...
How much you pay for Kepa? 80?
Mate, we paid, I think more than that, But see, here's the thing with the new owners. They didn't buy him. So it's like, even though that money was spent and it's Chelsea money, it's not like on their watch. The big mistake was Koulibaly. And Sterling still's got to deliver. And then Mudryk, and there's other players got to deliver. But Koulibaly, oh my God. Honestly.
He's gone now.
I know, but we lost 15 million,
I see,
20
right.
million, something like that.
For one season.
Mate, he was...
He was a busted flush when you got him.
Such a big reputation. Now I know Napoli got it right. They kept on to get, literally, you get to that hill, you get to the top of the hill, and he's on the other way down. That's when Chelsea decided.
But so far, right, none of your transfers, and when I say none, I include the price that they come with as well, have been successful.
Yeah, I know, but the club's a chaos.
I know it is.
And do you know what? You could have bought De Bruyne in, mate. He'd have failed in that team. Yeah. So based on what we saw last season, you can't decide whether they've been good or bad yet, because the club has been in absolute... Last 18 months, Chelsea have gone through sanctions, ownership change, new owners coming in, wet behind the ears, making big mistakes, sacking Tuchel, bringing in Potter, bringing in... Literally, whatever decision they've made has either gone from bad to worse or worse to bad. It's literally... It's not got better. So now, bring in Poch. Poch, do your job, mate. Bring in your experienced coach. We know what he does, what he can do. Overachieved at Spurs. You have got a brilliant young squad of players. No one can deny that squad of players last season were a disgrace. They underperformed, right? And for
12th,
so many,
finished 12th, right?
So many reasons, right? So you can point the finger in lots of different directions. So now everyone was saying Chelsea's squad's too big, got to sell. Then Chelsea sell, going, oh, Chelsea's squad too small. All of that is true. Got out the players. I think the owners deserve I think they deserve credit for getting big players off the wage bill, huge salaries off that wage bill, getting those players out, get rid of the muck. Get rid of the Detroiters, move them out, bring in the players that want to play, and there'll be bumps in the road.
Sorry, when you say they should be commended for getting rid of big earners, right? They've put players that we don't know if they're any good on crazy deals.
Not really.
What, 8 years?
Yeah, but Mudrik's on 80 grand a week.
All right, but let's just say this season Pochettino's is not for me. What are you going to do for 7 years?
No, but players. Okay, we'll see. In 8 years, you'll know.
I know, but I would imagine. I get why they do it, financial fair play. I understand that, but I would imagine there's a reason why players don't have 8-year deals.
Yeah, but they found a loophole. I don't think
you have. I think you're clever that you think you have, but you haven't. What are you going to do with Mudryk and Fernandes if the manager don't like them?
Why were clubs like Man United right in the Premier League complaining?
I have no idea.
Because you know why? Because Chelsea found so there is method. There's method in that madness.
I don't think there is. How much is Fernandes on? You improved his deal, by the way, last year,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
How much is he on? 200 grand a week?
I don't know.
Right? Let's just say he is. Right. And after a year and a half, Poch don't want him. He's got no inclination to leave that club.
Then get rid of Poch and bring someone who can get some out the tree. So all players want. I mean, look what's going on with Declan Rice. Right, he's got to sign a 5-year contract.
Yeah,
right? Probably at Arsenal. Right, they're in a similar position if he doesn't work, but we probably know he's going to work. I'm not worried about that. That bit doesn't concern me, right? That's further down the road. What concerns me is the next 12 months. That's what concerns me.
So you finished 12th, right?
Last season?
Yeah. Where realistically, I know you're going to say challenging, but realistically, as in for top four, rather, where do you think you can finish the season?
Fourth.
So you think you can make... There's going to be a difference. The squad's at the moment, we can only go on what we know. The squad is a lot weaker than it was, and you think you're going to be better off by 8 places.
So when the transfer window shuts, we'll have this conversation. It's hard because if we bring in Moises Caicedo and Osterman, let's say we bring... I'm using these players just to exaggerate the argument. Yeah. Then we'll have that conversation. But right now, whatever happens, the owners have got to get this right, and they've learned. So they should have learned by... The signings they made, there was a scattergun approach, right? And because the transfer window was shutting certainly was open when they took over, it was about a year ago, about just over 12 months ago they took over and the window was shut. The problem United have got in your shoes now with the takeover, the window is shutting. If that deal was not done...
I don't think that makes any difference.
Well, it will do.
Because we've only got 150 million to spend in this window.
I know, but imagine if the Saudis come in and give you there's $500 million.
We can't. Financial fair play, we're not allowed to.
You've got, mate, financial fair play for United ain't going to worry. It worries clubs like Chelsea, ain't going to worry United. It's not. But, so, I'm not having this argument. And I heard Andy Jacobs, 8th is a good finish. No, it's not. No, it's not. 8th is a bad finish for Chelsea. Chelsea's squad of players are absolutely good enough to muscle in and around that top 4. Look what Newcastle have done in 18 months.
Sorry.
Look what Villa have done in 6 months.
Right, but 2 minutes ago you were telling me it's impossible to tell me how they're going to get on because you haven't got enough. So how can you be sure that they're going to challenge?
Because we got time and money.
No, but
get it right. Buy the right players. Give Poch the tools he needs. Leave him alone.
Okay,
and crack on.
How many players do you need to get through the door for you to think we're good enough to challenge for top 4? Because at the moment you're not. Do you admit that?
No, I don't admit that. Okay. You're absolutely right. So, but what I'm saying, the reason I'm saying that is that we've got time in the window. It's not that we've got 3 weeks.
I know.
We've got 6 to 8 weeks still left.
How many players do you need to get through the door?
At least a striker, a striker.
A recognised Big Ed.
Right, number 9. Or something that they can work with. So Poch will go in on pre-season. He's got Christian Cuckoo, who looks good, but I've seen players come in from the Bundesliga, most notably Havertz and Werner, who have absolutely flopped. Yeah, I mean, yes, there are some players that work, some that haven't.
Yeah.
Right? So, but we've got good players, experienced players. The one thing that really worries me as a Chelsea fan, I say experienced players, which we do have, we've lost a lot of experience. Jorginho left in January. Kovacic has gone. N'Golo Kante has gone. Aspilicueta. You look at that. The experienced squad. That squad is now quite a young, very...
Naive?
Naive's not yet. But you don't know how it's going to go. But it's the experienced players, the ones that clocked up the most games, the most trophies, the most appearances, the most everything. They've gone. They've all gone. So what concerns me a little bit is having players in and around that squad. Ben Chilwell's probably the most experienced player there now, and Sterling, right? And that's it. And you wouldn't call Sterling a leader. Ben Chilwell, I like. Reece James is probably going to be captain next season. That's where we're at. So that worries me. That really does concern me. But I'm not having, honestly, I'm saying that, I'm not having this, 8's a good finish. We'll see what the window does. But we've got time and money.
If the window's shut now, where would this group of players finish?
12th.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's realistic.
There's no midfield.
No, okay. Names need to come in.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.